Francis Maxwell back for full-time Devils to discuss some tactics. Crucial game ahead this weekend. Great result against West Ham to move forward in the FA Cup. Now we're coming up against another maroon and blue team, and it is the worst of them both. Let's be honest here. Aston Villa, rooted at the bottom of the table. It should be an easy win, but let's not take anything for granted in the Premier League, especially with Manchester United's form this season. But let's talk some tactics. So I do think that LVG will stick with a very similar lineup to what he had against West Ham midweek. De Gea in goals. Fosu Mensah, one of my favourites in the world. He just is an absolute machine, a wrecking ball in there in the tackles. So Smalling, Blin, Rojo at the back. I like this. I liked it, and I will touch on it. I know you're going to be surprised and thinking, what has gotten into you, Maxwell? You just said I liked it when Fellaini is in the midfield. Not just him, but I want to discuss something that was just so evident against West Ham. It actually made Fellaini look not bad. So Carrick, Fellaini and Herrera. Herrera is a doubt at the moment, so he may not play. It could be a switch in there. We could see Schneiderlin come in, and it might adjust in midfield. But I'm not going to discuss much on the midfield. I'm going to discuss positioning mainly today. So, yeah, hold on to your seats for that. Lingard, and then this could be changing. We could see Wayne Rooney start. I would like him to still start Rashford and kind of ease Rooney in. Maybe give him a half once we're firmly in front. Let's not take anything for granted. As I said, Rashford has been phenomenal as of recent, and Martial out wide. So I'm going to touch on the first goal. And to many people, it just looked like a bad pass into the midfield, into a wrong area, which it was for West Ham. But the reason they were forced to make that pass is because for the first time this season, for me, I was just smiling like Giggs on an episode of Wife Swap, sitting in there like, yes, Manchester United have got it. They finally have got their positional sense right. And all it took was the understanding that you don't need to rush into an area to try and cover a certain position where West Ham could play the ball to, and instead just hold it together structurally. And I'm talking about you, Fellaini, because what this midfield done, rather than playing two defensive midfielders and one kind of central midfielder like what Mata usually does in here, is what Van Gaal done basically is he played with a little bit of fearlessness. So he allowed Carrick to be the holding anchor in there and pushed Herrera and Fellaini onto the opposition centre midfielders. And what we see with Fellaini is he's in this area. He knows that the ball can go here, so therefore he's ready to attack. Herrera's sitting in this area, and the ball was with West Ham's right back. And what you've seen is rather than, like, Martial was playing in the middle at this point, he switched with Rashford because that's what versatility is. You don't need to simply pick up the ball when that's in your position. You can adjust. You're professional footballers. It's easy to do. Just communicate. So what happened is Rashford decided that he was going to try and press the ball in here into this area. And I think deliberately what Fellaini done, which was kind of smart, is he was ready to cut out this pass into the striker if he wanted to pick it up in here, because Carrick was behind him. He understood that there was versatility in there. But by just pushing forward a little bit and putting pressure in the opposition half, he was able to kind of give West Ham enough of an idea to play this pass into the middle of the park. And what this did was this allowed Martial to kind of sense this and cut out that pass. So what you see from West Ham is they did play that pass into the middle of the park. Fellaini did well to cause pressure, but Martial just checked back and was able to cut out that lane and play a 1-2 with Rashford, and he put the ball into the back of net. So positionally, it makes all the sense in the world to kind of play two midfielders a little higher up the park, because it's getting to that point in the season, specifically against Aston Villa. You don't need to simply have two holding midfielders and have someone who's doing all the donkey work in the other end of the park. You can have two central midfielders pushing forward. That's what a 4-2-3-1 allows you to do, or in this situation, a 4-5-1, which is seen more than anything, because Rashford and Martial and Lingard were kind of alternating and dropping deeper to win the ball. Manchester United need to take that exact same motto into this Aston Villa game. Just because it's in a weaker an opponent doesn't mean that you kind of take your foot off the gas. This is a better opportunity to push further forward, because Aston Villa, take this with a pinch of salt, because it may come back to bite me in my Scottish ass, but they are diabolical with their back to goal, but they still take the ball into this area. So you'll see their holding midfielders in this example. You see Aston Villa's holding midfielders try to get the ball from their right back into here, but they're so bad. They cause so many of their own errors by asking for the ball into the feet. So Manchester United shouldn't need a second invitation to push further midfielders forward and heat the pressure into Aston Villa's own half. So what I want to see, even if Herrera doesn't start, if it's Mata, stick with this kind of triangular midfield, but the opposite end of the triangle. We don't need the holding midfielders to have two at the back here to patrol this area. We're confident enough at the back against Aston Villa to push another man forward. So if you play Fellaini or Mata in there, push the pressure further up the park, push the pressure into their final third and cause those turnovers like what happened against West Ham. And trust me, the goals will come and Manchester United should emerge with a comfortable victory in this game. So it may seem a little shorter than the tactics, it may seem a little bit more obvious, but what else can I go to when the proof is right there in the pudding that Manchester United are able to beat an informed team like West Ham in a crucial game in their own backyard? I don't need to touch on anything else. It's as simple as that, lads. Make sure to hit me up on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell. Thanks again for all your comments. I took over Full Time Devils Twitter timeline last weekend against Tottenham. It wasn't the best of results, but thanks for everyone for interacting. So make sure to hit me up on Twitter and at TYT Sports and on Instagram. I know you guys are on Instagram over there at Full Time Devils. You see a lot of bow ties, a lot of selfies, a lot of scenic environment around LA. I mean, it's a pretty environment around here. Come and follow my journey, Francis Maxwell Host on Instagram, and I'll see you guys soon.
Right, Aston Villa at the weekend. If we beat them, they are relegated. If we don't beat them, let's be fair, they're still going to be relegated.